Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, well, live stream, I'm gonna be prepping this 11.5-inch Bild Lilli doll for somebody. Somebody has actually requested me to make them one. So I just got done printing and curing her not too long ago, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour ago. The legs were the last thing to be cured because the whole doll will not fit in my curing station, so yeah. Let me just... This content... Excuse me 1 second. There we go, okay. It said my content wasn't available when I went to go click on my stream because I have my computer in front of me, and I put it up there in case somebody sends a message. I can't really see with how my phone's positioned, so yeah. That's what that's about. Anyways, let me just move my charger there. I'm gonna be sanding her. I am going to be sanding her indoors, but I would not recommend anybody to sand indoors. You know, debatable, but like resin especially, you kind of want to have like a well ventilated area. I'm living on the dangerous side here, but I do have a thin little mask. You probably want something a little more heavy duty, but I do not feel like putting on my respirator. It's too big and bulky for me. So I just throw on this teeny little mask. And I don't think you could hear me anyways if I did that. So yeah, but I will be wet sanding this. So that makes it less dangerous. Not dangerous per se. Well, resin itself is kind of like dangerous. It's dangerous, but it's not at the same time. It's basically anything you sand can get in your lungs. It's just good practice to not have that inside of your lungs, so just put on a mask or something. Anyways, I showed on my community tab well, not a long time ago, but a little while ago, that I had printed my first ever 11.5-inch Bild Lilli doll. Showed that a little while ago in my community tab. I can try and pull up a picture on my tablet to kind of show you how that one turned out. I can pull up the eBay listing. Hold on. What are you making? Oh, I'm making... Well, I'm not making anything. I'm gonna be sanding this, I basically 3D printed a doll. It's a Bild Lilli doll that they're kind of expensive, so I just, you know, somebody gifted me a model of a scan of their original one, so I printed it. I've been printing them and making some for myself and selling them and yada yada. I'm just sanding her before I can paint her. I have to sand her. Hello everyone. Can I make a Monster High doll out of it? I mean, I guess I could technically make a Monster High doll out of this if I edited... Oh, sorry, her wig cap fell off. If I edited it, I could probably make a monster... I've seen people do Monster Highs with, the Bild Lilli mold, but they sell a lot of, like, Monster High 3D models that you can print and stuff like that. There's even a, model of a never before released prototype body and, like a plethora of different like kid sculpts for Monster High that they have on the site that I frequent, so I might end up making a replica of that at some point. Oh yeah, the Bild Lilli doll. Sorry, I get sidetracked. Let's see. So this was the first and only one that I made, the big one. Don't know if you can see that, but there she is. I think she turned out pretty good. I sold her for pretty cheap because I didn't have the right sealer for her paint, so I sold her for really dirt cheap, like super dirt cheap. And I kind of messed up on the body, the hollowing of the body. As you can see, she's chipping there from the not properly sealed paint. and everything. She wasn't the best, she wasn't the worst, but I think I made her look pretty accurate. So yeah, that's her. That's the one that I sold. And the person that bought that one asked me if I could make another one specifically for them, and I was like, sure, why not? But yeah, this one is an improvement. This was not here before. I added this to kind of like clip where that can like clip into place like that. And it stays there unless, you know, you're doing it like that. But once you glue it, it'll be there. Press it firmly down and it'll hold it in place. Put a little bit of glue and boom, that will not be coming off. So yeah, I've already applied a plastic wood filler on top of this. I don't know if it's dry enough to sand. I was just testing it out. I don't even know if I'm going to like it on top of this doll, if it's going to react well to the paint, but we shall find that out. Anyways, I'm just going to be sanding this, so yeah. Just going to be dipping her parts into this water because I will be wet sanding to kind of like limit the dust since I am doing this inside, and that's not really the right way to do it, but it's the best I can do. Wait, I know what theme you could do with the doll. Oh, really? What theme did you have in mind? This is an old paint tree I don't need to use, actually, so I'm gonna be putting this down, try and situate that over my clothes so it doesn't get everywhere. Just submerge some of those pieces. So I'm gonna be using a low grit sandpaper for the more rough lifted areas, like the bumps from the supports. So I'm gonna be using this. Probably need to dip my sandpaper in there. My last one I made was actually pretty rough. Ooh, dinner night theme. That sounds cute. I might make an outfit for that. With that in mind, because I am trying to like venture out and make the clothes as well, like original clothes as well as maybe like replicas down the road. I made one that is turned out, she turned out pretty good. Her outfit, I'll show you. Well, I could show everybody. She's on my eBay right now anyways. I'm listing them because I kind of am in need of money right now, so I can always make more for myself anyways. It's fine. I basically I can make an unlimited amount of them at this point, so as long as I have the resin. Let me find the listing so I can show everybody the outfits that I attempted to make. This was the first one I made with the outfit. She already sold, so I need to get her packed up, but that's the one that I made. I don't really like, so I like the dress itself. It fits nicely and everything like that. It's nicely finished, except it's not lined or anything, but I do not like this underskirt I did, but I already put it in the listing. I didn't realize how ugly and like distorted it makes the waistline of the dress, so I don't like that. The print itself I think is cute. I just think I could have like added something more in there, like some whites or like a different color to kind of like break it up a little bit, but you know what? C'est la vie, that's life, so. But yeah, she turned out cute. Her head accidentally broke when I was handling her. I dropped her and her whole like, where is it? The little loop at the end of her neck that the thread goes through, that shattered, and I attempted to fix it multiple times. It would not fix, so I just glued her head on and called it a loss and listed her for pretty cheap, and just put a bid and let, you know, best offer or something. So but this one that I did was pretty, I'm really proud of this outfit actually. This is a complete, I even made a little hat to go with it. I don't know what, like, it's kind of like a 1950s-ish style. I don't know. I saw a similar dress, so I just kind of copied I made my own, this is my own pattern I made. Then I added that, and the hat I made from scratch. I didn't use a pattern really. She turned out pretty cute. She's a little black-haired Lilli doll, and I painted her earrings white. I saw one person do it. Ooh, red dress and gold jewelry. That'd be pretty. That would definitely be pretty. I might actually do that. That would be a cute, I wonder if that would be cute for like a bigger doll or like a little one, because this one is a what they call a small Lilli, so she's only like 7.5, 7.5 inches, whereas this one's like 11.5, like a Barbie size. So yeah, and I honestly want to make like a really big one at some point in time in the future. Like an 18-inch, 15 to 18-inch one. I see people doing that a lot, and I want to give it a try. So yeah, I might hold off until I get like a different. Ooh, there's a hair in that. That's gross. That's probably my hair. I might hold off. Why is there hair on my sandpaper? Ooh, there is like a. Ew. Okay. Like I was saying, I might hold off on doing that because the resin is super expensive, but I might do it with my resin. I just don't know if I could do that often because it takes a lot of resin. Even this took like a lot of my resin for each like one I make, so I haven't even been making a lot of the big ones, but yeah, I definitely do want to make a bunch of different sizes at some point. But yeah, that's what I've been up to since I actually did a video of the black-haired Lilli I showed earlier. I did a live stream of me trying to paint that, but I was going through a really rough time at that point, and I was like getting ill, and it was not that fun. So I finished that stream super early. I don't think I was only on there for like an hour or so. Was not the best, but you know what, we persevere. So I don't think that this is going to, yeah, see, that's coming right off. This said to let it dry for 6 hours for a thin coat, but I don't think I am patient enough to let that dry at the moment. So I might just have to sand this until it's smooth, because if you see these little lines, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. You might be able to see, but there's little lines in this. Those are the print lines, because this prints in extremely teeny layers and it cures in between each layer, so it will leave print lines. And especially at the settings that I have it at, which makes it go by significantly more quickly, you get more layer lines than when you do it at the lowest setting. So I think I don't know if you use less resin or more resin when you do it this way. I'm not sure, but it is a very tedious waiting for that to, I'm so impatient. I get so impatient waiting for it to like print, because I have to keep going up there and back because my setup is upstairs, and I get really, really winded going up the stairs because I'm super out of shape. Excuse me, my hair is getting in the way. I get super winded from where my setup is located, so I just don't like going up there too often. So I like making it as little time as possible for these to be printed, and I like checking them with like when they're about 50% done. So if it's 2 hours, I'll check on it in like an hour, and so on and so forth. But yeah, anyways, this one I was able to, I had been for these bigger gals, the last one I printed, I actually had to I thought I had to put the legs onto a separate file and do them separately. But for this one, I somehow was able to squish all of the parts onto the build plate in one printing session, and it made it go by a lot quicker. So I'm thankful for that. I was able to figure that out. Yeah. The one bad thing about the sandpaper that I'm using is like it crumbles so badly when it's wet, but I need it wet because I don't want to be inhaling too much of this resin dust. So Yeah, that's already starting to smooth out. That, I don't know if I'm gonna use that wood filler or not. I might want to invest in like a different, like a more, I don't know, something that takes a little less time to dry. I heard there was this one person that does a bunch of like 3D printed Lilli style dolls. His name's James Mansfield. He's a drag queen on YouTube. He does on his second channel, it's James Okay, I believe it's called. He recommended to use a plastic wood filler, which I got, and then mix it with acetone to make it more of like a watery consistency. And he said it also helps with the dry time. But I was a little bit scared to do that on this because I have heard that acetone with resin doesn't really mesh well together. It like does something to the resin. I don't know. I've heard that, but I don't know. I looked it up and they said that wood filler is okay on resin. I'm just not sure about the acetone part, but yeah. I might try that with a different doll. Maybe like a personal doll or something. But for this one, since it's going to somebody, I think I will refrain from doing that. Plus it takes a little bit of time to sand, but not like a huge amount. It's just a little annoying is all, as you can see. But it can be sanded fairly easily. That's one of the reasons that I actually wanted a resin printer specifically, even though it's a somewhat of a big financial investment, is because you spend a lot less time having to post-process, which is sanding and stuff like that, priming, yada yada. Yeah, you don't have to spend as long sanding and priming it and sanding and priming it, yada yada. Because it just prints so smoothly compared to like a melted plastic, which is, I think, is like a PLA printer, which that's like a filament printer. It's basically that. It's basically just like layers of melted plastic, but that I think would work better for like a more mechanical jointed doll. This one isn't super, she's kind of like a little bit, what's the word that I'm looking for? Primitive with her articulation. Because she really only, her head doesn't go up and down, it literally just goes side to side. And then the legs, they only go back and forth, you know, like a vintage 60s Barbie, since the Barbie was based off of this doll, but and then her arms are the only thing that really has like a kind of like less primitive movement, which is, it has like a swivel joint. So that's neat. Even the vintage Barbies, the number one until like what, the 1970s, like mid 70s, they didn't even have this like level of movement in their arms. Like, that's wild to me that they kind of like went backwards a little bit. Why am I getting so many hairs? Well, I do have a room full of dolls, so I guess it's inevitable I'll get stragglers here and there. Okay, let me just, yeah, that feels pretty smooth, so need to another hair. I do not know what's going on tonight. That is just, it's like, it must be like hair in my water or something that I'm not seeing. But yeah, I did actually edit the entire doll. I smoothed her in my 3D program blender I used, because she was quite rough around the edges. Because this is like literally, they took a Lilli doll and they literally, one of my friends, they literally just scanned her, like, and made her a 3D file for me. Yeah, so it's just, they scanned all of her imperfections. I actually had to fix, like, it's like the mold itself was like damaged, or like it didn't like it like didn't fill in a gap to like two gaps on the feet or something like that, and I had to fill in like divots in that were in the mold, or like I think she might have just been like a factory error doll or something. But once you smooth out the rough edges and you sand it and everything like that, you can't really tell much of the imperfections, so that's good. See how my sandpaper is just like falling apart on me. I have been going through so much sandpaper doing this method, it's not even funny. But I do not like going outside to sand, especially like this time of year. It has been so super duper cold. I just cannot bring myself to stand out there on like outside or on like our little mud room area when it's like 15, 20 degrees. I just cannot bring myself to stand out there for that amount of time sanding. So I'd prefer to just dip it in some water, be in my room, put on a little mask, and pray that it helps suppress some of the dust. I'm actually gonna get a new piece of sandpaper. I really want to make sure that this doll is super smooth, because the last one I sold them, I thought I had sanded it better than I did, but looking back, she had almost like a chicken skin texture on her legs and like some of her back, and I just didn't like it. So I'm really trying to like be more mindful of like my sanding, which is a bit hard because I'm a little impatient and I love painting, so that's not the best. She needs to be sanded more here. Oh my goodness. But yeah, everyone had a good day. I had an okay-ish day, I guess. Not the best, not the worst, but, could be worse. I didn't do too much myself. Been procrastinating on going for some walks recently, but I don't have much of an excuse now that the weather is starting to warm up a bit, so I need to get my butt out there and go for some walks and get some fresh air. But yeah. So this body is like, I don't know if you can see, like, you see that? It's like basically completely hollow except for like one line I added in there for the stringing. This doll is, her torso is like solid. Like, her legs used to be like almost completely solid, but I had to edit them because the way I had done it before was not allowing it to be cured on the inside, and I ended up messing up a doll because of that. So I hollowed them out more and added holes for her stand, because this doll has a stand like the number one Barbie, or I should say the number one Barbie has a stand like this doll, because this doll came first. She came out in like 1950, like the mid 50s. I think even before that, the character herself was around since like the early 50s, like 1950 to 1952, something like that. I don't know. But this doll was around like 4 or 5 years before Barbie, and that's where Barbie got her inspiration, was from Lilli here. So kind of sad that we've lost out on having this doll, since she is such an important part of like fashion doll history and just like history in general, because Barbie is such like a pop culture icon, and like everybody knows what a Barbie is, She's like the biggest doll in the world, so it's kind of sad that this doll, which is the inspiration behind her, was just kind of like forgotten. Unless you're like a super hardcore Barbie fan, then you'll know who she is. Or just like a Lilli enthusiast or whatever, but my dream was always to own a Lilli doll. I always loved the Lilli doll. I always wanted to own a original Lilli doll, and then I always wanted to own an original 1959 number one Barbie doll. That was my goal as a child. Still is one of my goals. And I'm hoping one day I will be financially well off enough to purchase her. Even if I have to take out a loan or put her on a credit card, I don't know. But yeah, I would really love to own one eventually. So yeah, her belly area, like this area, her midsection is like pretty smooth already. I don't think I need to sand that too much. This feels smooth, but you can really never sand these prints too much. I mean, you can on the finer detailed areas, but areas like this that are like big and supposed to be smooth and stuff like that, like the collarbone area, I forget the name, cleavage area, I don't know. That area is supposed to look nice and smooth in my opinion, so getting that sanded and or filled is like very mandatory. Then the back, in case you want to put her into like some cute little lingerie or like a low-backed swimsuit or something. Yeah, you definitely want to have this nice and smooth. Since her fashions are meant to be changed and stuff, she was like a fashion doll. So, adult fashion doll, but you know what? I love that. Trying to save her back. I don't think it needs much more sanding on the back area. Put a little bit more in that water. Yeah, I think I got her pretty good. If I see any more pitted areas or just like like chicken skin kind of texture like I did before, then I'll just go back and sand her again. I want to make sure this doll is pretty nice because I am going to be selling her for a bit more than I originally sold the other one for, since she will be done with better material. But yeah. And she's actually, I'm going to be giving her mohair for her hair because I had been using brushed out yarn that had been straightened, and it works wonderfully, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to use that for most of my dolls, unless of course I can find a supplier that supplies it in bulk for a decent price, the mohair. But the mohair is so soft, like it's honestly like such a high quality fiber. I love it, and it feels very similar to what vintage from Barbies from like the like early 60s were kind of rooted with. It feels a lot like that. Like the first like 4 Barbies, like number 1, 2, 3, and 4, it feels kind of like that hair. Yeah, so her face areas where I'm gonna be a little bit more picky because she has layer lines in there, like not too much. I did position her head in a way where I don't think it like left as many layer lines as it had been, but in the very like super duper sculpted areas, like right in here, like it's kind of far down and it's hard to reach. There's a lot of like little teeny like lines and stuff, so I really need to make sure that ooh, I don't like the sound of that, sorry. Can I like do that? I hadn't been doing that because it takes so long, but if they're going for as much as people are paying for them, then I need to try and up my game with how they're finished, because some of them I don't think I've been like fully happy with any of the ones that I've made. I'm super happy with the little brunette I showed earlier, not the brunette, the Raven, the black-headed girl. That one I really like, but even her, there are things that I just don't know. I think I'm just a perfectionist, and I feel like even for this doll, there's gonna be things I don't like about it, and I think that's just like the name of the game when you're an artist is, or do crafts or print or paint, do whatever, then you're just not gonna be happy always with your work most of the times. Which I guess is a good thing because it makes you want to improve more, but it can also be a bad thing if you're never satisfied with your work ever, you know? I really want to just like focus it in this area. I do not know if that's sanding down properly. Kind of in here. I was thinking of getting like a gesso. They sell it at my local Walmart, a gesso type of material where I can like layer on top of it, but I don't know how that would like, if that would like stick to the resin or if it would like flake off over time. I don't know, but for like priming, because I do have a spray paint primer, but it just, I don't really like it. I'll be honest, like the paint doesn't stick that well to it and stuff. I was thinking about like trying to find like a spray paint in the Rust-Oleum brand for plastics that was a similar color that I needed for the doll, but I don't know, I just haven't really looked that much, and I don't know if I'm interested in like buying that one. I don't know. I do want to eventually invest in an airbrush, and I think I am going to, maybe from the sale of this doll or something. I don't know. Cause yeah, Lilli's were airbrush. They weren't painted with a brush. Well, they were for the face, but not for the body painting, like the skin flesh color. But yeah. Yeah, I just don't know if it's like sanding away as much as I need. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to get in there. I do have a pair of tweezers. I don't think they're gonna work as good as I need them to. Can try. Be like in there like that. I think I've seen where they have like little sanding paper like sticks, and I would love to try and get a hold of some of those if they do sell them. I think I've heard somebody mention using them at some point. I cannot remember who though. Yeah, just gonna get a little bit in there. She's got a little bit of lines on the very top of her head, but so minuscule. She did have some support marks on the very back of her, like the nape of her neck, so I'm gonna go over the back here a bit. This does not need to be smooth, but I'm just gonna run it over there anyways. That looks good. There's a little hair in there. For the legs, there wasn't, it's a little one right in here. on the legs. Let me try and just like oh, there we go, a little bit. There we go. Had a teeny bit of support left on the very inside of her shoe, so I just got rid of it. And I just run that in there. That there. Yeah. The leg looks and feels pretty smooth already, so I don't think I need to sand it, which is fantastic. And I did, like I said, I went into Blender and I smoothed out the model like itself, so I think that also helped with like the little chicken skin look that I'm talking about, was talking about earlier. So yeah. But yeah, I think these are good. She does have some little dots in there. I don't know if you can see. I might go back in with a little bit of resin and just like spot fill that, but I think it's so minuscule that I don't really think anybody will care that much. Face is okay, just need to like sand a little bit more in there. The arms, this one's gonna need some work because I accidentally positioned this in a way where the support for this, I believe, the torso, was like intersecting this, so it kind of like attached and like did a little bit of a, there's like little bits of like the broken intersected like resin or whatever. It became like one with the arm, and it's a whole long mess. But anyways, I'm gonna have to fix this, so I'm just gonna take that and like, actually don't think I'm gonna be able to, I don't have like a razor or anything. I think I'm just gonna go in straight with the sandpaper and pray. Do I not have like any sort of blade or, I guess not. Yeah, and she's gonna need to have a fill here with a little bit of the resin I printed her in and then cure it again, because that is no good. No good. All right, that's basically going there. So I actually went to go see Iron Lung recently. It was a decent movie. I really liked Markiplier. He was a pretty good actor in that movie. Oh, okay. Pretty much gone now. Would have saved me a little bit of time if I could have like cut it off with a blade, but I didn't have a blade handy, so the hands, I don't think, yeah, she needs a little bit of sanding on the palm area. Just a wee little bit, nothing super. There we go. A bit more here. Oh, she needs a little bit of sanding at the top of the joint, because that rubs on the that can cause the paint to like chip, so I want a smooth area for the joints to kind of try and reduce the paint chippage. Then I'm going to layer this girl in a enamel sealer after I am done painting to try and preserve her paint. Because my last Lilli, the black-haired one I showed earlier, I don't think I sprayed her thick enough with the sealer, and her paint started chipping a little bit more than my other one I did, so that was sad. But I also think I strung her arms a little too tightly. So So that, yeah, I learned from her. So I'm gonna be more careful in the future. I think with that, this arm is nearly done. My hands are starting to cramp up. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this for, but I will try and get the full doll sanded before I leave, at least. This arm I did a test paint on. I was trying a different application method. I didn't like it, so I'm not going to do it, I don't think. Or like I'm going to have to like water down the paint significantly more than I had before, so. But yeah, so this is just like goopy, yucky paint on there. I might not even touch that arm right now. The cap, that does not need to be sanded. It's going to be under her hair, so this I don't even sand. Plus most of the like marks are on the inside. I did smooth this out already. It's a lot more neat than the unedited version. This leg, probably not that many marks at all. Little one right there. There's a little support mark, little remnants. There we go. Got that off. There we go. Actually, don't really need to sand this at all. A little bit right there, but I don't know where the supports were on this looking back now because it's super duper smooth. And I'm not even seeing any support marks, so, oh, nope, that's not a support mark either. Very interesting. I don't know what I did I did position them. I had been doing it like this, which is probably not the best, but it kind of cut the print time down. But I had to position them like this to like fit all of the body parts onto one build plate. And I think it actually saved me time, and it also made them like come out smoother just like straight off of the plate and everything. I didn't even really have to sand them hardly at all, so these legs are good to go. Unless I obviously see some imperfections in different lighting, but all right, I guess I can move on to the arm now. This arm is kind of, I do have a paper towel. Let me try and like scrub some of this paint off of there. Before I start sanding. Let me just like kind of do like a, yeah, see how that's kind of messing up my sandpaper, and I don't think I have too much more. I don't think I have another sheet handy, so I'm gonna have to make do with the little scraps I have laying around, but yeah. I wonder if prepping her with a my enamel sealer, like spraying her before I paint her, would maybe help fill in any gaps. I don't know. Maybe it would like help the paint attach better. I don't know. Just kind of thinking of like ways that I can experiment without like completely destroying this printed doll. I don't really think you can like destroy it unless you break it, but I don't want to do something weird chemically and then the doll just like starts disintegrating before me. I don't know. Kind of scared of that happening because I'm not a chemist, so kind of just like trial and error for me. Yeah, so the paint on this hand is basically just like falling right off, so I'm just gonna try and sand the top a little bit because this is a little teeny bit. I might make a video of me. I don't know if I want to make a video of me painting her though, because at least the skin tone, because that takes a lot of coats, and I do not know if I am. I like to be sat in a more comfortable position, an area when I'm doing that, and watch YouTube and stuff. That could take like anywhere from 3 to 6 hours even. I think it took me one time to paint like this like size of a doll. It took me about, oh god, at least 5 or 6 hours to get the coatage right, like to get it layered to a nice level and everything like that. It just took so long, and I am not prepared to sit here for like 5 hours doing that, so I really am not prepared for that. So I think I'm just gonna leave it off once I'm done sanding this arm for now. So don't, oh, what's that? Kind of get some of the paint off here. Sand that a little bit there. I think that all right. I think with that, she is done being sanded. So, for right now, actually, she's not done being sanded because I just did the first pass with the sandpaper. This is a pretty low grit, so I'm gonna go up with a finer grit later. Probably need to rest a little bit anyways, but I will be going over it again with a finer grit, and then I will be buffing it out with this sanding block. It's a the finest grit I have at the moment, so, and it gives a pretty good finish once I buff it out of there. So yeah, that's our Lilli. I guess I'll like put her together to kind of show you what she'll look like when she's assembled, but basically be like this. Put an arm on either side, like so. And she'll be like that, like a Barbie basically. So yeah, I was thinking about doing a #1 inspired Barbie with this sculpt, but I don't know. I think I might try it and like paint her like a #1 Barbie. Try to at least, because I think that they share nearly the same sculpt, like face-wise. The only difference is like the hairline. I think there's some slight differences with the arm sculpt, and then obviously the main difference is like she has molded on shoes. But I could probably like edit her feet to look a little bit more like a vintage Barbie, like have the, maybe instead of having the removable shoes, have the sculpted on shoe, but then add the toes at the end, make it more of like a open toe shoe like those dolls had. But yeah, that's it for this live stream. Thank you everyone that tuned in. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye everyone.